Recording in progress.
Now we will call the Committee of the Whole meeting to order for Tuesday, March 1st. First item on the agenda tonight is roll call.
Okay, Miller.
Here.
Rosado.
Here.
Beck.
Here.
Connolly.
Here.
Chancet.
Here.
Salfa.
Here.
Wolf.
Here.
Barron.
Here.
Lehman. Ayazi.
Here.
Malay is absent. Yor.
Here.
Cerrone.
Here.
Vogelsinger.
Here.
Okay. We have 11 present.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry,
All right.
Rosado is here, I'm sorry. And so is Connolly, sorry about
We
that.
should have 13.
We have 13,
There you go.
sorry.
Okay, item number 2 is a reminder to speak directly into the microphone for the broadcast and recording. And then also make sure to raise your hand when you want to talk, put it down when you're done, and if you would leave your mic muted while you're not speaking. Okay, item 3 is approval of the minutes for January 11th, 2022. Anybody have any corrections, comments? If not, can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Chanzit, second by Solfa.
Okay,
Roll call, please.
Miller,
Aye.
Rosado,
Aye.
Beck,
Aye.
Connolly,
Aye.
Chancet,
Aye.
Salfa,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Ayazi,
Aye.
Yor,
Aye.
Cerrone,
Aye.
Vogelsinger.
Aye.
Motion passed, 13-0.
Thank you. Okay, item 4 is items to be removed, added, or changed. Do we have anything tonight? No. Okay, we'll go right on then to matters from the public. Item 5, for items not on the agenda tonight. Do we have anybody here, anything not on the agenda? Do we have anybody online?
There are 2 people online. If you want to speak on a matter that's not on the agenda, if you could raise your hand. There are no hands raised.
Okay. All right, then we move on to the consent agenda. Alderman Chanzit?
Just one item, approvals, the cow executive session minutes from November 30th and November 30th, 2021 and January 11th, 2022. I move that we approve.
Second.
Motion by Chanzit, second by Beck. Roll call, please.
Chancet,
Aye.
Salfa,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Ayazi,
Aye.
Yor,
Aye.
Cerrone,
Aye.
Vogelsinger.
Aye.
Okay, oh, Miller,
Aye.
Rosado,
Aye.
Beck,
Aye.
Connolly.
Aye.
Motion passed, 13-0.
Thank you. All right, up next is item 7, presentation on progress update on the water treatment plant.
Green right in the middle bottom.
Don't worry, just as soon as we get this figured out, then we won't be doing it.
They want me to get the. Just the only face on the screen there.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, for those of you that don't know me, my name's Emily Conti. I've been the project engineer on site at the water treatment plant throughout this construction project. So a review of the scope again, we're adding in this brine area addition to the existing treatment plant number 2. There's a concrete driveway out front and then extending this roadway around that. There's a picture in the bottom of what that's going to look like. The progress from this last month. So the backwash storage tank was officially put online November 18th of 2021. We're still waiting for those level sensors inside the tank to measure levels of the backwash water in there. Some photos, those were still from the previous month. Treatment plant expansion, so this is that new brine area, the outside. Some of the brine equipment was installed and the plumbing is still ongoing inside that. The electrical installation is still ongoing. The windows were installed on the outside, you can see on the bottom 2 pictures. And then they're just working on finishing up that trim installation. Well 11 rehab. So the pump, column pipe, and the motor was reinstalled this past month. The pump testing was completed on February 15th of 2022. The transducer is still going to be installed. They've got the PVC piping in place. They just need the electrician to install that. And well number 11 is back in service. The high service pump rehabs. So high service pump number 1 and number 4 were tested and back in service. There's pictures of both of those. And then high service pump number 2 and high service pump number 5 were both pulled for rehab. There's an estimated reinstallation and testing date set for May of 2022, and that rehab work is ongoing. The dualator number 2 rehab. Painters have completed sandblasting of the detention tank, and then the inspection of the filter area is ongoing. There's ongoing coordination for the rehab work, including inspection and analysis of steel conditions and repair recommendations. And then the new valves, piping, and control panel are all delivered and stored on site. The estimated completion date for this rehab is still set for April of 2022. Next steps. Ongoing brine building modifications. Continue rehab for dualator number 2. Continue high service pump 2 and 5 rehab. Begin well number 10 rehabilitation. And then the brine system hopefully online. Here's the anticipated construction schedule. Everything is still set to be on schedule. And then any questions or comments?
So how bad did the tank look inside when they sandblasted that out? I know that was one of the big questions, was how much work they thought they were going to have to do to that after they got it cleaned out.
That is a good question, and that analysis is ongoing. I will say that initially, what it looks like is the steel is not in great shape. So the analysis is ongoing. They're doing the sandblasting currently. They've done it in the detention tank. We're still reviewing the filter area, and so we're still accumulating the information that we need to make final repair recommendations. It does seem like it is going to be a bit of an additional level of effort than was originally in the bid schedule. We have the line items in there. We have unit costs. It's just the amount of repairs is going to likely be more than what was originally anticipated. So by next month, we should have a better report for that and what exactly that means.
Because you'll fix that one, and then
Have to
once
go to
that
the
one's
other
done,
one.
then the other one gets done.
Correct.
Right?
So right now, we're going to anticipate that it's going to be similar repairs on the other one as the first one, so, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Anybody online have any questions? Once again, thank you, and hope things keep going smooth. It's good to see the well back up and working.
Right? Things get checked off the list here.
That's a good thing.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, then we'll move on to item number 8, which is approval of the Class D Restaurant All Liquor License Application for Revelry 675, located at 675 South River Street.
I'm going to step out.
The record reflect that Alderman Beck has left the proceedings for item number 8.
Okay. I have this, Alan. The Batavia Police Department completed background checks for liquor license applicant Reverly 675. The owner is Shuki Moran. No issues or problems were noted. Is anybody here from 675 Revelry? No? Any discussion? Okay. No discussion. I would like to make a recommendation as City Council approval of Class D1 liquor license application for Revelry 675 at 675 South River Street in Batavia.
Second.
Okay, motion by Rosado, second by Connolly. Roll call.
Rosado,
Aye.
Beck, it's not here, Connolly,
Aye.
Chanzit,
Aye.
Solfa,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
Barron, Barron,
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Ayazi,
Aye.
Yor,
Aye.
Saron,
Aye.
Vogelsinger,
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Motion passed, 13-0.
It'll be
Of 12.
12 and 2 absent. Okay, let the record reflect Alderman Beck has returned to the meeting for item number 9. Item 9 is Ordinance 22-11, amending official zoning map for a planned development overlay district, 470 to 490 North Randall Road, Meshuka Burger LLC applicant. And who has that one?
Drew?
Drew?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. On tonight's agenda, we have 2 items related to the Culver's development. There are 2 ordinances. The first being an ordinance that would amend the zoning map to create a planned development overlay district for the 470 and 490 North Randall Road properties. It would basically create some zoning relief to allow some shared parking arrangements and the location of parking, as well as some modifications from certain perimeter landscape standards and some other minor zoning relief for landscape. The second ordinance would be a conditional use permit to operate a Culver's restaurant at 470 North Randall Road. Both of these items went through the Plan Commission on February 16th and received positive recommendations. During the hearing, the commission did review with the applicant the arrangements for the proposed drive-through. As I noted in the memo, the drive-through does conform with the zoning code, does provide 8 additional parking spaces for pickup of orders. And the applicant did explain that if in certain conditions, if there was at peak times that they could deploy mobile ordering for ordering or taking of orders, and there are 2 ordering stations for all other times. The overall, the Plan Commission was very receptive to the proposal. They feel it was a well-designed project and was an appropriate use of this given location. And they did feel that the modifications that were being granted for the most part were necessary and were basically the minimal requested. Essentially, even the perimeter landscape area relief, for example, that what's being requested actually is a reduction of what was already on the site as pavement. So there's additional landscape being created. So the Plan Commission did vote by a vote of 6-0 to approve both the design review subject to the conditions of these 2 ordinances tonight. And they did recommend approval of the proposed zoning map overlay and of the proposed conditional use. So staff does recommend approval of the 2 ordinances before you tonight.
Okay, does anybody have any questions, any comments? I will say, Abby, go ahead.
So it says that the landscaping will increase from what's currently there. Did our requirements change since Fridays went in, or was an exception granted back when Fridays was built and this development went in?
So when we adopted the zoning code in 2010, we did not have basically required landscape areas. We just had building setbacks. So that's where basically the difference in application of the code arose, that we didn't have that standard before. Now we do. And they're asking for relief that is not too far from what was on the site.
Thank you.
Mark?
Yeah, I'm generally in favor of this, except the one thing that I didn't think we allowed electronic message boards, but apparently we do, and obviously we can't change anything about that now, but I would love to not have them in the future, because I just think that, again, just a look is just.
Do you mean in the city as a whole not having any message boards? Because we do have them at our fire stations.
In the, like the retail.
In the
like
retail
Randall Road.
areas?
Yeah, I'd like, if anybody else wants to talk about it, I'd love to talk about it at some point, because I'm just not a big fan of them personally.
I guess the one comment that I was happy that the way it was laid out was that the exit from the drive-through was as far away as it could be from Mill. You know, that it's not coming out right at the end.
Yeah.
That has been historically a problem that we've had in other places where the exits come out. In fact, just south of there's one that doesn't get used at all because it's too close to the street. So I'm glad that the way this one is laid out is in a different location. Hopefully that will work better for that, that street.
I'll join Mark on that. I remember, I don't remember if it was here or if it was back in Las Vegas that I got into a car accident, and I can remember it being a question when I filled out paperwork, like, were there any electronic message boards? Like it went through the stage of like the set of possible distractions on the street that could have led to the accident, and it stands out every time we talk about it. I'm like, oh yeah, they asked me about that, and like a road safety, like, so I'd be curious to know just kind of what the updated, look from the police department, public safety is on those close to the roadway.
Thanks.
Just so the council's aware, we do have a pending amendment that's been requested, a text amendment for expansion of our electronic signs where we allow them. So shortly you will have an opportunity to talk about that very directly.
There's your discussion.
I guess so.
Okay.
Can you tell which way I'm leaning?
I don't have the slightest. Why don't you send me a message? Okay, any other comments? Anybody online have any comments about this? Okay, if not, I'll make the motion that we recommend to council Ordinance 2211, amending official zoning map for a planned development overlay district 470 to 490 North Randall Road, Meshuka Burger, LLC applicant.
Second.
Motion by Wolf, second by Solfa. Roll call, please.
Wolf,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Ayazi,
Aye.
Ewer,
Aye.
Saron,
Aye.
Vogelsinger,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Rosato,
Aye.
Beck,
Aye.
Connolly,
Aye.
Chanzit,
Aye.
Salfa.
Aye.
Motion passed 13-0.
All right, thank you. Next is ordinance 22-12, conditional use permit for drive-through restaurant in a general commercial district, 470 North Randall Road for Culver's, Meshuka Burger, LLC applicant.
Second.
Okay, anybody have any more comments before we vote on this one? Is the applicant here? Is they here? Did you want to come up and say anything tonight? Okay, just to, I think most of us are familiar with Culver's, but not you yet, so.
My name is Michael Smith. I'm one of the three owners of the Culvers on Randall Road. Just want to say, if everyone had any questions, I'm here to answer them, and we're really excited to be in Batavia.
We're happy to have one.
Sample cement mix. Super happy.
This is a franchise,
Yeah,
correct? Do you
franchise.
own other franchises?
In Skokie, and the other two business partners, Katie and Susan, have 6 others.
Very experienced then.
And you know what you're doing. Excellent.
Welcome.
Yep.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing the place full.
I'll be there.
Unfortunately, I think I'll probably be there too much. Oh, well.
You can come twice a day. It's okay.
No, I can't. No, I can't. Okay, well, we have a motion and a second.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
I made the motion,
Okay, and,
and second is
okay, thank you.
Sulfa.
Okay. Wolf,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Ayazi,
Aye.
Ure,
Aye.
Saron,
Aye.
Vogelsinger,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Rosato,
Aye.
Beck,
Aye.
Connolly,
Aye.
Chanzit,
Aye.
Zalfa.
Aye.
Motion passed, 13-0.
All right, thank you. And that'll be on our next city council agenda. So if you wanted to come next Monday night, if you wanted to come and say anything at the council level, we'll put that on the regular agenda. All right, thank you. Okay, up next is ordinance 22-10, amending ordinance 17-16, granting variances for a temporary parking lot at 111 to 117 North River Street. This is our city-owned parking lot on the other
Yes.
side of this building, right across the river from us.
Yes.
Scott?
So this was granted a conditional use back in 2017 that had a 5-year term to it. That 5-year term has now lapsed. And we do have in the ordinance the ability to extend that for an additional 5 years, for 10 years. And essentially the reason for the temporary state of the parking lot is because the parking lot does not comply with all of our required setbacks, landscape islands, and so on and so forth. So our recommendation is to go ahead and extend this for an additional 5 years. Once that period is over, then we would have to either make the parking lot comply with all of our zoning ordinance requirements, or hopefully the property would be under a state of redevelopment for additional development in our downtown. So that is our recommendation, is to extend it additional 5 years via this ordinance to essentially allow the status quo to continue.
Nick?
If, hopefully, I'm with you, but what happens in 5 years if, what do we have to put into it to continue this if there's not a redevelopment in 5 years?
Yeah, so we would have to put in landscape islands where there are none. We require landscape islands every 10 spaces. There are some setbacks that don't comply on some of the parking spaces, and anywhere it's not curbed would have to be curbed. So there are a few things that would have to comply. It's not a great amount, but there are a few things that would have to be brought into compliance.
Going back to the time when we did this, it was try to do it, as frugally as possible, and hopefully, be ready after 5 years, now hopefully after 10 years, to move this on to somebody else's ownership and have, a development done on it. Or at least turned into something different than a parking lot.
Yeah, that 5 years went quick.
Did.
That's what I was just thinking.
It really did.
I don't know if
Really did.
everybody heard, but before this meeting, I talked about, a notification the other day that it was 5 years ago that we start doing cow meetings live on BATV.
Right.
And that's already just
Yeah.
flown by.
Mhm.
Okay, if there's no other comments, I will reluctantly make the motion that we approve ordinance 22-10, amending ordinance 1716, granting variances for a temporary parking lot at 111 to 117 North River Street.
Second?
Motion by Wolf, second by Rosato. Roll call, please.
Wolf,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Ayazi,
Aye.
Ure,
Aye.
Saron,
Aye.
Vogelsinger,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Rosato,
Aye.
Beck,
Aye.
Connolly,
Aye.
Chanzit,
Aye.
Salfa.
Aye.
Motion passed, 13-0.
And that can go on consent agenda
Thank you.
All right, up next is item 12, Resolution 22-35-R, authorization of a master service agreement with Tri-R Systems Incorporated. Alderman Chanzit.
Thank you. So this is for an MSA with Tri-R Systems Incorporated. Back a few years ago, 2017, we started on a path for a factory talk SCADA system that is for wastewater treatment plants, water division. Basically, it's a warning system if there's something going wrong with any of the systems. We're in the process of integrating those warning systems right now. This will be for the water treatment plant. It will be for the water towers, as well as lift stations. And this basically lets us move forward with the project. So am I leaving anything out?
I can't think of anything. We have used Tri-R in the past. They did work with our previous SCADA system. They come highly recommended, and this is just an opportunity to formalize an agreement with them for terms and also to protect our data.
Throw it out for any additional discussion.
Yeah, Dan, this is Mark.
Sure.
I'm sure I've asked this before, and I'll ask it probably every single time. These are all separated from the internet, right? These are all air gapped so that there's not, as people worry about cyber warfare, these are not things that would be accessible by a clever hacker.
Well, that's part of the reason for this agreement, to make sure that they stay that way.
Okay.
We keep a very tight rein on our SCADA system with very limited ability to get to it from the outside. So this helps formalize that agreement so they understand that,
Okay.
what they should and shouldn't be doing.
Okay.
It's typically the IS department who manages the security. They're kind of working on the inside of the SCADA system, not allowing or setting up access for remote users to get in or out.
Okay. Thank you.
So
Any additional? Good.
So Alderman can't shut off other aldermen's electrical power.
It's not my skill set anymore.
That is actually a good question. We do have some new people that have joined the council. I'm not sure if we ever really talked about what SCADA systems are. What are the most common types of early warnings we get from these systems?
I would say if a pump for a lift station is not working, or the water tower level gets a little bit low, they'll get alerts in the middle of the night if need be, and be able to come in and determine what the problem is before the public would know about it. That's probably the simplest answer I could give you.
If there's no additional discussion, I would move that we approve this MSA with Tri-R Systems Incorporated.
Second, Ewer.
Motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Janset,
Aye.
Salfa,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Ayazi,
Aye.
Yor,
Aye.
Saron,
Aye.
Vogelsinger,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Rosado,
Aye.
Beck,
Aye.
Connolly.
Aye.
Motion passed 13-0.
All right, thank you.
Consent.
Okay, thank you. Up next would be Ordinance 22-13, amending Title 8, Chapter 1, Articles A and B of the Municipal Code related to renewable generation facilities. Alderman Saron.
Yes, we talked about this last couple of weeks. It is necessary for us to comply with CEDR regulations to modify certain
Nick,
sections.
I don't want to interrupt, but I just want to say I'm stepping out for this one.
Gotcha. We have to modify certain sections of our code, so we kind of went through the lingo last week and gave Gary direction, and this is what he came back with. So Anything else to add to that, Gary?
Yeah, thank you. For the last several weeks, we've been talking about the policies. So CJA requires us to adopt net generation, a self-generation policy and an interconnection policy. And those are the policies that you approved at last week's COW meeting that will be coming to City Council next week. But in order to implement those policies and get them into the city code, we actually have to do an ordinance. And that's what this ordinance does, is it modifies the language within, the existing language within our code. I've given you a red line version of all the changes, basically wiping out what we had and then inserting new language. And the new language that we're inserting is consistent with the two policies that you just passed at the committee meeting. So jumping back to really the clean version, we're redoing section K there in Title 8, Chapter 1, where we define renewable, we define what the system size is, we talk about how the energy will be measured, and finally we talk about net billing. And then we are also going to modify Article B, which talks about the interconnection. And again, that requires a definition, who's eligible to interconnect, the codes and regulations that they have to abide by. And then finally, the same language that's in the policy, and that the terms and conditions for interconnections shall be set forth in the customer-owned renewable generation facility interconnection agreement, which you also approved last week. So that's my summary. You guys have any questions?
I don't. I appreciate the red line, and it makes it so.
Yeah, and you always ask, but you ask staff, and we always try to provide the red line and the
Right.
clean version. So,
Yeah,
yep.
when you read just a clean version and you don't remember what was in it
No,
to begin with,
exactly.
it makes it almost impossible.
No, this is clear and
compare.
what we had talked about, so I'm good. Anyone else have any questions, concerns? Anyone online? Well, without any questions or concerns, I will go ahead and make a motion to recommend the City Council Ordinance 22-13, amending Title 8, Chapter 1, Articles A and B of the Municipal Code related to renewable generation facilities.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Saron,
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Rosado,
Aye.
Beck.
No.
Connolly.
Aye.
Chanzit,
Aye.
Salfa,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Lehman,
Aye.
Ayazi,
Aye.
Ure.
Aye.
Motion passed, 11-1, with one abstaining.
Okay. And then we will move on to project status. And Alderman Vogelsinger has returned.
Thank you.
So we're still waiting to hear whether the governor will extend the disaster declaration beyond February 4th. If he does, we will continue to have hybrid meetings, but if he does not, the Open Meetings Act will require us to meet in person, except that a person can participate either through video or audio for the following reasons: personal illness or disability, employment purposes, or the business of the public body, or the third is a family or other emergency. Also, just want to let everyone know that I will be on vacation next week, and so for the City Council meeting and Committee of the Whole meetings next week, Anthony will be representing the Administration Department in this chair. In Community and Economic Development, we are excited to see the progressing construction on the Chipotle and Starbucks buildings off McKee Street in Randall. They're going vertical at this point. Signage has now been installed on all of our properties that we're listing through Legacy Mulder brokerage. Those would be some properties like the one on North Water Street, as well as some of the properties that we have out west. And so they are vigorously marketing those properties for sale. Police Department is going to be, the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners will have its regular monthly meeting on March 8th. And on the agenda will be the hiring of an officer from our Certified Lateral Secondary Eligibility Register. The command staff attended the monthly meeting with the Kane County Chiefs of Police Association on February 17th, and the main topic of discussion was Kane County State's Attorney's presentation on a new vertical prosecution structure for the State's Attorney's Office. The new structure will ensure that an experienced Assistant State's Attorney is in charge of each of the major criminal prosecution courtrooms, and additionally, a team of experienced assistants will take over the felony review process so that the State's Attorney's Office, which should lead to better guidance for law enforcement on matters of felony crimes. In Public Works, Engineering held a kickoff meeting with V3 to start the process of studying the design for the Carriage Crest Stormwater Outfall Project. They continue to work with Fermilab and the Army Corps of Engineers to finalize the documents in preparation for the Mahoney Creek tributary projects. And as Howard Chasin mentioned, they've been working with Information Systems to assist water and wastewater through upgrades and modifications of the SCADA system. And another project that Public Works is working on with our Information Systems Department are the remodeling of and pulling of new cable here in the City Hall building this year. And electric crews are making preparations to resume overhead reconstruction project in the Highlands area. I think that's about all that I have, unless anybody has any questions for me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on then to item 15, other. Does anybody have any others tonight?
I got one. A couple of residents have just expressed some concerns to me now that the weather's been kind of going up and down. The condition of the parking lot over there at the 7-Eleven and Rosati's and the constant overflowing of the garbage cans. They've just complained to me about one, the giant massive potholes, and two, just the way it looks as on the main corner of town, entering town. I'm not sure who owns the property or who's maintains it, but just wanted to bring, like, 3 different residents brought those concerns up to me.
You bet. We'll get code
Yeah.
enforcement over there.
Yeah, we've already been on top of that situation. There was some minor patching that was done by the property owner, but it is something that is a constant thing that we're getting on them about. There's been some, I'll call, bad tenant-landlord relationships going on over there too. So, we're trying to get on it to get the landlord to get it done, and they're kind of dragging their feet on things, but we're working on it.
Thank you.
Dan, I see you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Thanks. A couple of things. For anyone who is unfortunate enough to follow my Facebook, it is littered with all the different comedy stand-up things that I travel around the country to go see. I will tell you, it made me so happy to cross off one of the names from my list at the Comedy Vault downtown Batavia this weekend. Rachel Feinstein. It was a fantastic show. I brought an out-of-towner to come see it, and she remarked what a wonderful time she had downtown Batavia visiting restaurants, and she said we don't need to go to Madison anymore if they keep booking all these wonderful acts. It just made me really proud to be a Batavian. Another thing, I'm going to need some assistance over the next probably 6 weeks. I did find out this evening that surgery I had about 8 years ago on my neck has kind of failed. So I'm going to be having spine surgery on March 17th. I will not be able to attend meetings for probably about 4 to 6 weeks while I am in recovery. So I do need your guys' assistance. So thank you very much.
Sorry to hear that.
Sorry to hear that, Dan, that...
I'm going for a high score with Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yeah, okay. Well, if you need to, we can set up, the little Zoom one. We can mount it like on a hospital bed or whatever we need to for you. Yeah, we can set that up. We got the tech skills here.
For sure. I definitely appreciate that. And I remember last time around, recovery went a lot faster than I was expecting. This is a little bit more complex because it is levels 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which means when I'm downtown Chicago, driving on the diagonals, I will have to physically turn my body to look at the traffic behind me. That's a lot of fusion happening in my neck.
Well, I have an aunt that had all those done, so I know, I saw what she went through, so as long as you got a good doctor doing it, you'll be fine.
Indeed, we have world-class medicine just down the street. Thank you.
Okay.
Alan?
Your Honor?
Yeah, a couple things I wanted to share with the council. The last few weeks, I have been, I guess I'll use the word lobbied by the fans of the Batavia high school sports programs, because the school district has announced plans to, maybe Alan, you can describe more what they're going to rebuild the Batavia high school football field. Can you describe that a little bit?
Well, they're going to, I think it's staged, and I believe first year is going to be new stands on the home side and a new press box.
I think the lights
and-
as well.
And the light poles, yeah, and lights will be changed.
Mhm.
That's as far as I know. I haven't seen the plans yet, so I really can't
Yeah.
comment on exactly what's going to happen, but I do know that at least the first 3 games have already planned to be away, and the possibility if anything in the supply chain goes wrong or anything else happens, it could be more than 3 games to start the season off next. So as soon as the last track meet is over this year, the bulldozers come in.
So I wanted the council to kind of hear that, because that's kind of out there in town, and there's a big fan club of that whole program, so everybody knows about it. Our community development department under Mr. Buning has been very, very supportive of this whole thing. And I know they have met now several times with the architects and the engineers who are overseeing this. And we're trying to get this thing staged so that by the date that Alderman Wolf just mentioned, we will be in a position to say, okay, we can open this up and you guys can get going. That's kind of the goal here and the target. So I probably have had 10 to 15 mothers, fathers, fans talk to me in the last couple of weeks about, I hope the city doesn't get into this thing and mess it up somehow or get it out of the way. So I want you all to know, if you run into any of your constituents, down here, we're trying hard to get this thing prepped and prepared and working with them on whatever. And I know Scott's preparing to have his team watch it with quite regularity as to, do we see something maybe that shouldn't be going this way or put here or whatever have you. So we're gonna be kind of watching that one a little bit closer than maybe something else normal construction. We just want to make sure, because we don't need a whole bunch of fans next, what it would be, October, November, when the season's going, and suddenly they can't get on the field to the game, or we delayed it, so we had to go someplace else, and we lost that game. I don't need that, neither do you.
We'll just annex Geneva and use their stadium.
Yeah.
It's already pending.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to share with you is, you know, I have these roles with the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus and the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning Council of Mayors, where I'm the chairman. And, you know, and I'll call it rough conversation that the mayors are having at the moment. As all of us may remember, 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, there was all this announcement of all this money that was getting thrown into the pipeline to do all kinds of wondrous things, and we were all being suggested that we need to look at what we wanted to add for our town, and I know we've had some conversations about it, and we've got some ideas. I will tell you, however, in the last couple of weeks, given what has happened on the national, international arena, there's a lot of people who are scratching their head and, you know, beginning to wonder how much at the end of the day, given what's now happening in Northern Europe, how much we're going to be able to fund here in the immediate future. That there may be have to be some significant diversion of monies and personnel and whatever have you. So I don't want to cool anybody's haunches here, but that I just want you to be alert that this may be something that will have kind of a slowdown. I don't want to use stop or negative, because I don't think that's the case, but it may very well be something that kind of slows things down, and there won't be the vigor and anticipation and strong push to get things on the road and projects started, because I think there's some real concerns about what is or is not going to be able to be done here with whatever monies are going to be available. And the feds are really, I think congressmen and everybody else have all kind of stopped right now and have said, gee, maybe we shouldn't do it. The other thing I wanted to add to you on this kind of the world of politics above us is that there's been a redrawing of maps of the state legislators, the state senators, and the congressmen. And I jokingly have been told by several people that Batavia seems to be, quote unquote, the prime target. Now, I guess the Democrats drew these maps, and, we don't necessarily have any history of being real strong Democrat or real strong Republican, but they drew some maps. And what's disturbing to me about these maps is that they put them out, but they don't put a district number on them. I've had the staff and Mike Kanan and a couple others working with me here regularly trying to figure out, I wanted to get together a set of maps, I'm still working on this, that I can send to each one of you so you can see where the state senators and the state representatives are and the congressmen. Now, the congressmen, it sounds like that's going to be a real interesting situation because there's 11, I think, running in the Republican ticket. And part of Batavia I think Batavia's in 3 different congressional districts under the new maps that have been. In fact, we even have, and I can't even pronounce his name, we even have the congressman that's the congressman for up around Hanover Park and Schaumburg, and that is Raja, whatever.
Krishnamurti.
Pardon?
Krishnamurti.
Yeah, okay. He's now got the northeast corner of Batavia. He's up there with the gas station at Fabian and Washington Avenue, and then he's got a row of houses behind it, and then he's got a couple of things going out Fabian Parkway, but that's all he's got within us, but he's one of our congressmen. Now, maybe this will work out, we'll have a 3rd congressman in town, and maybe this will do something for us. So, one that's more interesting to me is the state representative drawing that they did, because, I feel that Murrah Hirschauer has really done a nice job in her first term in office. But she doesn't have much of Batavia left in her district. They drew the map, so the map, her district stops, I think it's 10 houses south of her house on Viking Drive. And anything on Pine Street, which is up the hill to the north, that's all in somebody else's district. And I'm still trying to get a set of maps so that we all can see and understand as to who is our Congress, or who is our state representatives now. And Linda Holmes, who is the Democratic majority whip, now has a large portion of Batavia in her district. And the other one that's picked up a large portion of Batavia, which wasn't there before, was Keith
Wheeler.
Wheeler from the Kendall County. He's now got a big chunk of Batavia in his district. And so we've got a whole bunch of kind of new people. I don't really have anything negative to say about any of them, but it's just a real interesting. They obviously were trying to get something done in the political process. If there is ever an example of gerrymandering, I think this may be one of the better ones ever done. But I just wonder where all this is, what's its intentions for, and we shall see what we shall see. The other interesting thing is they've moved the primary way back into June, so that when the primary's over, there's going to be a shortened election season between June and the first Tuesday in November. Normally the primary's always been in March. Well, now we've taken almost 3 months off of that calendar and put it into the primary season. So a lot of politics on the street these days, and I just thought I wanted to share my observations with the city council. I've been careful here not to say anything bad about any one of them, but I'm just saying that if you had a favorite candidate and you voted for that person in the last election, you be prepared for this set of maps that I'm going to be sending in, because you may find out that that person is no longer your rep or your congressman or whatever we have here. So we also went through quite a run, and I represented the Kane County mayors at the meetings with the Kane County Board, in which they had to reapportion the 24 seats on the Kane County Board by population. Problem they have is the census is a little bit weak, I think, in the opinion of a lot of people. So anyway, they had to use that census to draw the maps. And so Batavia got adjusted in that pretty good. Dave Brown did win out as far as he has most of Batavia now as his district, so he knows us, and I'm personally pleased by that. But there's just some real interesting things happening in the election process today, unlike anything I've ever seen before.
And they all have to run again, right? There's,
Yeah.
Dave's got to run after 2 years.
They had to go into a drawing, and there were 24 of them, and there were even numbers and odd numbers, and I think the odds got the 2-year term and the evens got the 4-year term. So Dave just ran, but he's got to run it now for another 2-year term, and then he'll have a 4-year term. And there's 12 on the board that will have that same legacy. So I haven't heard from anybody that tells me they're running against him, but I mean, that's just kind of what's happening. But given the world that we live in, I think it's maybe my job here to kind of keep you a little bit informed as to how the politics are working in the county and in the state legislature and other places, because there's been some real interesting moves done here, and I'm not sure how it's all going to come out, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, I'm hopeful.
Your Honor, they also changed all the maps around for the court districts as well. Second district, third district, I mean, first district, still Cook County, but good luck trying to figure out what all the other districts are right now.
You know, what amazes me is they drew these maps and they put them out and they didn't put any numbers or any identification on these maps. And so our staff has been upstairs trying to pull these things off the computer, and we're not sure what we're getting here. I mean, they've almost like they're trying to make it very difficult for anybody to really honestly understand. And my only intention when I started this was to give the 14 members of the city council an honest view of what was going to happen with the new maps, because
Hopefully
there's
they
some
can
significant things.
get it figured out before people start voting for who they're supposed to or not supposed to vote for.
I just sent
That's-
everyone a copy of what the county clerk has published on their website. It's really fine print to try to read where the boundaries are, so.
The only good thing I can think of is that there's going to be 3 months less of ads, so that's
There
probably
is that.
the only good part about that. And one more thing I didn't want to go through tonight without saying that there is one great thing that came out of last weekend downstate, and that was the fact that Batavia got its first girls state wrestling champion,
That's awesome.
Sydney Perry. So we'll have to, I'm going to get with the
Invite
mayor
them.
and find out about what we can do for
We're
that. And
certainly
that's-
going to have her come down and give her a
Yeah.
proclamation. And
Yeah,
have Alan talk about her, if nothing else.
yeah.
And
I think,
to be fair, she's actually a 2-time state champion.
right, this is the second time, but last time was what, the club
I
series.
understand. That's 2
Right,
years in a
and
row.
the other thing that's really cool is she's actually the first state champion, because her match was the first one of the day. So she was the first state champion in girls wrestling, so I think it's,
She found out in the
that's
grand,
pretty amazing.
She found out in the Grand March that she was going to be the first
First
match,
wrestler,
and she
yeah.
didn't have her uniform.
right,
on,
that
so-
stories and stuff in the videos of her and Coach Bear are just great, you know.
Nice.
It's just a really wild thing to have happen and, you know, have that be part of Batavia, so thought that was pretty cool.
For sure.
Question before you move on, Alan. The mayor brought up what the school's planning on doing. We had requested kind of a meeting with the school district to see what's going, any progress
I haven't
in
heard
that?
back,
Okay,
so I'll reach out again.
thank you.
Well, I only brought up about the high school field.
No, but they're doing a lot
I
of
know
things,
that.
right, and we
I
requested
wanted
it.
to ask the
Right.
question, but you know, the pressure has been on me the last few days about, they're all worried about getting that field done, so. And I really feel very confident that Scott and his team have that well under control, and they know what they need to have, and.
I don't think it'll be a permit or anything else that holds it up. I think it'll be
Right.
supply, if anything.
Right.
Okay.
I guess
Tom?
on that same note, our meeting, I know we've been trying to have a joint meeting with the Park District.
Yes, when I contacted them about having a joint meeting, they suggested that we consider hiring Hitchcock Design Group to do a report on the pros and cons of impoundment versus no impoundment on the dam side, that dam channel. So I We don't have a proposal from Hitchcock Design Group yet as to what that extra study would cost, and so I wanted to have that information for you before I presented that. But that was their suggestion, was to come together to go over what, to analyze what, the experts say are the pros and cons of doing it either way. Since this group was evenly split on impoundment versus no impoundment.
We're just going to keep delaying this. This is the thing that bothers me the most about the whole deal is, we're going to have another study, we're going to have another, and then we're still not going to make a decision of what we're going to do moving forward. By the time we finally get to make a decision, the dam won't be there because it'll have destroyed itself.
Yeah, I sure hope we don't miss out on the opportunity for $1 million in funding to remove the dam.
Yeah. Okay. Next, we have an executive session for setting the price of land for sale. So I can get a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ewer, second by Saron. Roll call, please.
Saron,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Vogelsinger,
Aye.
Rosado,
Aye.
Beck,
Aye.
Connolly,
Aye.
Chanzit,
Aye.
Salfa,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Redistrict.
Lehman,
Aye.
Ayazi,
Aye.
Yor.
Aye.
Motion passed, 13-0.